Log, August 31st, 2016. This is a weird thing to make an entire log on, and this is more of a rant than anything. I thought about tacking this on the end of a GNN, but since we're in the middle of the multi-topic extravaganza right now, and we're not really doing rants at the moment, I just couldn't wait, and thought that this would give me the opportunity to go on for as long as I wanted to about the absolute absurdity and preposterous nature of this thing that I found out about yesterday. So I did a Patreon hangout with the patrons. Of course, Geekvolution has a Patreon, and one of the perks that you get as a patron is you get to chat with me for a whole hour once a month. And there are some incredibly goofy and hilarious things that come up in the Patreon chat that you are, quick plug for this, absolutely missing out if you're not subscribed to Patreon. And I don't mean to use this as a commercial for Patreon, but a couple bucks a month, you could come hang out with us, and really strange things come up, like this thing. So I ask everybody in the Patreon chat to bring a topic with them, to come armed with a topic. That's their homework assignment. Something for us to all chat about together. And somebody brought up an action figure that they had bought years ago that was Luke Skywalker from Empire Strikes Back hanging upside down, and he had never gotten the other part of it, the Wampa. And he said that he finally recently bought up the Wampa, and it comes with a plastic piece of meat. And a lot of us, for whatever reason, thought it was really funny that it comes with plastic meat. And then another one of the patrons sends us all a picture of something that totally one-upped the Star Wars meat, which was a piece of meat that you could buy as an action figure all by its lonesome. And I could not get my mind around this. I could not move on from this. I just could not stop talking about it. It probably drove everybody crazy. And I have to share it with you because I lost my mind about it. It was absolutely preposterous. So there was apparently a Rocky line of figures not too long ago, and I love Rocky. By the way, I'm going to be doing commentaries on the Rocky movies pretty soon with Jackson Rasco, so look forward to those. But I haven't collected Rocky, and I can see myself getting these figures. They're really good figures. And I guess the one I'm about to talk about is as good of a figure for this as you could possibly expect, but I might end up starting my Rocky figure collection with a piece of meat. So here it is. Here's the picture. Here's the figure. This is a figure. I've never seen this before. Something that somebody decided was so iconic from the Rocky movies, and yeah, it is. I mean, that's one of the big things everybody always remembers from the montage, and I mean, it's a big plot point. Rocky is down on his luck and doesn't have a lot of money, and he's looking for creative ways to train, and so he starts beating up a piece of meat in the meat packing plant. And apparently, somebody decided that meat was a character. Yeah, the meat. And not just meat, but the meat, as if Rocky only ever hit like a singular piece of meat. Here's the piece of meat that Rocky beat up in the first Rocky movie. The meat. This thing is absolutely hilarious. That is not an action figure. That is an accessory to another figure. Like, that piece of meat should come with a Rocky. Or more accurately, a Rocky should come with the piece of meat. How is that an action figure? It just completely boggles my mind. I'm just glad it's not fully articulated. Like, could you imagine if you had a piece of meat that in attempting to sell as an action figure, they also, like, gave it joints and things just because it's like, well, otherwise it's just like this big slab of meat. Yeah, that's what it is. It's not an action figure. And this figure comes with its own accessory. It's got, like, a worn-out Rocky shirt that comes with it. This figure, and I realize that this is like an adult collector line and it's not really meant for kids to play with, but imagine kids are playing with these figures and you get the meat first. I mean, like, you wouldn't do that, but you don't have a character even. You just have a slab of meat. It's absolutely preposterous. So I looked this up on eBay because I was wondering just how much this would cost. I could only find, it is also apparently a really rare piece of plastic meat. It's only, I only found 2 auctions, and they're both from the UK. And one of them was 33 pounds, and one of them was 55 pounds. That is a 55-pound piece of meat. It's absolutely absurd. So I don't know if I'm ever gonna buy that. Apparently, I can only get it from the UK, and right now the cheapest I can possibly get it is for whatever the US dollar conversion is of 33 pounds, and it would possibly even cost me as much as 55 pounds. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine spending $50 on an action figure of meat that doesn't actually come with a character? It's just meat. There's a part of me that wants to just buy that. I mean, like, and not get the rest of the line just because all by its lonesome in the package on a wall. That is a conversation piece. Nobody is going to come over and not notice that. Oh, cool, Rocky. Wait a minute. It's a figure of meat. I just... How is that a thing? Somebody in the Patreon chat suggested that maybe like it was, and I haven't looked into it to see what all the other figures are, but maybe somebody in the Patreon chat suggested that maybe there were like so many characters that they wanted to have like a round number or something, and they were at like 5 or 7. And they needed one more, so let's see, Adrian, let's make it a piece of meat. And I feel like there are enough characters in that movie. Well, let's see. Let's try to count them down. So you got, before you get into like really obscure things, like I don't think anybody would care to have an action figure of like the person that runs the pet store. Like you probably don't need that, or of, well, actually maybe I could kind of see action figures of the guys who are calling the fight at the end, the announcers. I can actually kind of see that, because at least one of those is in most of, if not all, 5 of the, no, 4. 3 or 4. And then 5, there isn't one, of course, because it's a street fight at the end, but there are fights in the middle, and maybe he's in that. I don't remember. But anyway, that guy is, one of those guys is in enough of them, I could kind of see it. But so you got Rocky, you got Adrian, you've got, well, and also you could do like variant versions of them. Like if you were trying to get to 8 and you didn't have enough characters, you just put Rocky in a couple of different outfits, put Adrian in a couple of different outfits. You know, you have her in her like really conservative get-up at the beginning where she doesn't really want anybody to see her, and she's laying low and it's cold outside and she's got a coat and stuff, and then later as she starts to relax a little bit, she has different kinds of outfits. You know, when she lets her hair down. You have a couple Rockies and a couple Adrians, but you got Rocky, you got Adrian, you got Paulie, you've got Mickey, you've got Apollo, so that's 5. Those are kind of the 5 central you know, Rocky the central character, and then the rest of those are supporting characters or in an antagonist. But then I could even see, and admittedly this is like retroactively looking at the importance of characters after the fact, but if we're just looking at the first movie, you could still get away with putting out a figure of Apollo's trainer, because he becomes more of a fleshed out character as we go. My point is, there are not few enough characters that we would want to see in a Rocky line that you have to resort to meat. Now, I think having a big slab of meat for Rocky to fight is cool. I just don't think it should cost 33 British pounds. It should not be a 33-pound piece of plastic meat. Thanks a lot for watching. Sure appreciate it, and I'll see you again later on this week with more Geekvolution videos. I'm Captain Logan, and this concludes today's Captain's Log.